the role of education should not be underestimated when it comes to music and to artists in general. Please, if you have the opportunity, go to school. Once you start music and it starts looking good, please go back to school as well. I mean, it's very important because education is like the bedrock of society. My papa would always say in Igbo, he would say, Ebo onyo soru, onye jegeru. It means that where the person who has a car or is running is going to get to, the person who's crawling is also going to get there. The only difference is time.
Thank you for everybody that will be watching. We're live on CTD Among Blacks, and on today's episode, today's section, we have one and only, I will use the name Nigerian princess, dominating the East, taking over our social media with our cultural way of bringing melody to our ears. And for you that might not know this wonderful, let me use the word, I don't even know how to say it because I feel like you've given me too much energy in me that I want to say a lot of things. But with that being said, I have with me, if you've listened to that song that went viral through to the Head Note, One Ticket about Kiss Daniel, that lady that changed the tune, that makes everybody Davido to jump on it, that make them to repost it, is no other person that I have with me. Favor UGOCCIE, how are you doing? Yeah, I will definitely make sure we'll put a drum because I feel like there's energy of, putting a drum into it. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I feel very pumped. My energy is off the roof. I'm very happy to be here with you.
Thank you very much for that. One thing I have to give it to you is your energy is always, man, I don't know how you do it, but I like it and I really appreciate it. So it's a privilege we have you, not to take your time because I know you're always busy. Can you, if you don't mind, for our audience, for our fans all over the world, in America, here in Houston, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself, if you don't mind me asking?
Of course, I don't mind.
Thank you.
Favor UGOCCIE Anosike. I'm a singer, songwriter. I rap when I want to rap as well. But basically, I write songs and I'm an indigenous performer. I like to incorporate my culture in everything that I do because I feel like your culture is your identity. And I don't like people that lie. I don't know how to dance, but I'm taking dance lessons. I don't know how to swim. I love to eat a lot. To eat is okra soup and any swallow. What else is there to know about me? I started singing at a very early age and I've been doing music, started doing music commercially in 2019 and I haven't stopped till date. And I'm the first daughter out of three siblings, yes.
Thank you very much for that. But I really appreciate the fact that you put it like, I'm not going to say it this way, but indirectly you mean to say you're foodie, if that's correct for me to put it that way. Because you said you like a lot of food.
Yes.
Okay, that's wonderful. That's wonderful to know. And your best food is okra. Is that correct?
Yes.
Thank you for sharing those wonderful, things that people will get to know about you. I will digress a little bit from that. And I hope this doesn't change the energy a little bit. For every artist out there, there's something that inspired them. There's somebody that gives them the energy. There's a thought they have. And unfortunately, what I heard from the research we did from our own hand was you said your mom, and may her soul rest in perfect peace. But how has it been, the energy of the fire that how have you been able to keep that tempo to this present moment?
My mom wouldn't have wanted me to stop. That's something I always tell people. Matter of fact, I lost my mom on the 9th of December 2021, and on the 10th I had to do a gig. On the 11th I had to do a gig. On the 12th I had to do a gig. So wow. I had to go perform in front of people right less than 24 hours after mourning my mom. So I feel like it's something she would have wanted. Me stopping would be a slap to her face, and I feel like it just lit more fire up my, so I would not want to stop because I know that my mom would have not wanted me to stop. She knew that I love doing music and she was a huge fan of my music. So there's no stopping. So the inspiration is not gone. It might not be physically present, but it's still there.
Thank you very much for that explanation. It takes a lot of strength dedication to lose your mom and having a gig within a couple of days, and to still have to keep up the smile, the energy. Like you always give every time I've, your music, your interviews, I really take my time, and it's like you on this tempo. And that's the reason why I ask you the question, like, how have you been able to do it? But my next question is gonna be, you bring the indigenous of the east side of Nigeria, and that represent the entire Nigeria itself. You represent Africa. What inspire you? What makes you to want to go on that route? People do music for different reasons. Some people do it just for the fun. But I've listened to your lyrics. I've listened to a couple of your songs, and there's this way you make sure the indigenous of you, of being a Nigerian, of representing Africa is there. What inspire you? Where do you get this your own version of this inspiration from?
For me, I feel like my culture is my identity. And in previous times when I tried to make music without fusing in my culture, I just felt like there was something lacking. The moment I started, getting into the nitty-gritty of the culture, putting it in my music, integrating stories, just, mixing everything together, the food started having flavor. It's just like I would instance it to cooking. If your cooking is monotonous, sometimes it may not come out right. But I mean, if you bring different spices, that are very peculiar to you, it would taste better. So always been someone who is an advocate of understanding the rhythm. Most people are like, what if nobody's hearing what you're saying? I'm like, most of the songs that have gone viral in the world, most of the songs that we vibe to and listen to are songs that we don't even know what they're saying. But I feel like the beauty of music is in the rhythm, in the melody, in the way it makes your body feel. Songs like Despacito, we don't even know what they're saying. There's Spanish people vibing to it. And I love to be a part of other people's culture. There's nothing as beautiful as being a part of people's culture, asking people, what did she say there? What was the meaning of what she said? There's this thrill, in being a part of someone's culture. And I like it when people are like, I love this music, what she's saying. So it's just very beautiful. I'm such a strong advocate of indigenous music. And also because I've seen people excel doing music indigenously. So why not Ugo?
Thank you for that, Ugo, sharing that very line that you shared. It's about, bringing on another part of this music we've listened to that went viral, but that doesn't make no meaning, to add some kind of historical part into the music. So for me to ask you, based on what you said, what inspired, like, what are the music you listen to? What are the things that keep you on track? Because we're in an era where what you're doing indigenous music is not that given that opportunity to glow. What are the people you listen to? What are the people that give you the courage, like, I'm going to be on this track, and definitely the world is going to get to know me and get my chance to be all over the world?
So growing up, I used to listen to a lot of high life musicians, indigenous artists back in the days. And funny thing is, I still listen to them because somehow I get some kind of inspiration off of the type of music they used to make back in the days. Songs like from people like Osadebe, Ike Mazeli, Onyeka Owenu, I love her so much. Oriental Brothers, all this. Brenda, I listened to Brenda a lot. I didn't know what Brenda was saying. What Brenda was saying, but I was just drawn to her, musically. So I'm like, yeah, means I can make music in Igbo and people would just love it because I don't know what she's saying, but the beat, the melody is drawing me. So there's so many of these oldies that I draw my inspiration from. Until date, I still listen to them. Also, I listen to new music, contemporary music as well, because you have to find a way to evolve and insert yourself into new situations as an artist. Even if I'm doing indigenous music, I listen to a lot of contemporary music from my peers, my folks, and then see how I can bring in my Ugo style in it and still make it sound like Ugo was in this song. So yes, there's so many people I listen to. The list is endless.
Thank you very much for that. That's very deep. My next question I'll be asking you is about for people that understand music, that understand what is called art in the music world. There's some keywords you're using that I want to ask you. There's two questions in one. I'm using one stone to kill two birds at the same time, but actually it's a metaphor that I'm trying to say. Do you study music? That is the first one. And the second one is, because you're doing indigenous music, how do you work with your producer? Do you come up, are you being able to, it is not easy for you to blend, oldies into Afrobeat into trying to take hip hop, combining those. Do you work with your producer to make sure they could work with the level of what you have, or they give you a sound and you jump on it? So those are the two questions.
Okay, first one, I studied microbiology. I didn't go to music school.
Wow.
Then for the second question, with me, like before this interview started, I was just in a studio session. So most of the times I could have a tune in my head, or I could be scrolling through YouTube and then a melody can just pop in my head off of a beat that I've heard. So I'm just going to look for a way to insert lyrics that would, work with it. And most of the times it might not work that way. I might be with my producer and he could have an idea and he would play it and I would write it down. This is like my music book. I was just in a session, so I write time. Yes, I do a lot of writing. So I just keep writing stuff, until like inspiration comes or anything. So I just do a lot of writing. I have a home studio too. So I just, play around with sounds till something just works in my head. But majorly the focus is that it has to have that Ugo feel. There has to be a feel that she's taking us back to somewhere. We can hear some Igbo in it. Okay, yes, that's her. So that's it, basically. It comes sometimes before a beat and I just hum it, put it in my phone. Or it could come after I've heard a beat. So I just record at once.
Thank you very much for that. I really appreciate it. And I can tell you have so much music because this book you showed me just now, I have so much music that I've never even people wouldn't even imagine is there yet. That I feel like
out of the books, I have like 3 or 4 filled.
Wow.
Wow.
With that, I would digress a little bit into another part of the music world. Being doing indigenous music that you're doing, what has been your challenges in the music industry of Nigeria? Since you've got this opportunity to be here, what are the things you feel like you want? I wish they understand this part of the indigenous music that I'm doing. So I'm asking you the question, like, what are those things you've been encountering since you've been on the spotlight?
Well, for one, it would be the people constantly asking you, don't you think you want to switch it up? You don't have to show your indigenosity off in all the songs, So what if people don't understand you? And then I always reference the other songs that we listen to that are not necessarily sung in English that people understand. I don't see people question some of the artists that are already established that do indigenous music and and are performing it, selling out arenas, selling out venues with indigenous music, So that's number one. Number two would have to be finance, because as an artist who is not, under any major label, it can be really hard to push, indigenous music and all. But like I say to people all the time, I don't see limitations, I feel like if you've been doing it to this point, there's always space, there's always time, and social media has made it very easy. You can pick up your phone, record yourself, put it on social media. Boom, it's everywhere, because that's how we started for me. So social media has made it easy. There's less monopoly. So you can come out with your own fresh sound and people would identify with you, vibe with you, and follow you. So yeah, there are no limitations. I mean, I don't see them. I just keep moving.
Thank you for that. There's no limitation. You just keep moving. That's a very big one. And I hope anybody out there listening to you that going in your route, because we don't have a lot of people doing it. We don't have a lot of people that have, and like you said, a lot of record labels don't want to invest in the indigenous music unless you have your own fund. There's this artist, I won't mention the name, that was having an interview, and the artist in Nigeria break it down by saying he wished the banks can start giving loan, some kind of way working with artists that really have the talent, that really have the gift, that they're doing everything to make it happen. In your own view, I'm throwing that question back to you. You're having the opportunity now to express yourself to the record label, to the bank. What has been those thoughts that when you're alone in your thought, like I wish they could understand things like this, to open doors for other talented people to be able to represent the world and to change the history of how things is being done in the past, in our own era. So what is that thing you like to just tell the banks, record labels, anybody out there that feel like you have to change instead of embracing what you have and what you're trying to give the world?
I would basically tell them that there's so many talented people, like me out there that need funding to put music out, push the music. Now, it's not just about putting music out. These days, the dynamics have changed. It's no longer what it used to be before. So if they could, probably put out grants, or something for artists, And then, there could be like some kind of payment plan or something, because nobody wants to lose their money. It's business at the end of the day. And music business is actually, I feel like some people still don't understand how big the business of music is. So I feel like there should be like some kind of grants and also some corporations as well, because not everybody might want to be in a label. Some people just want deals where, they can get funding, and then every other term and other things can be, written out. Agreements can be made on how these payments will come in. Could be through streams, royalties, and all of that. Doesn't necessarily have to be just banks. It could be corporate bodies and, people who are looking for also invest their money.
I'm so happy you're sharing this, and I'm about to ask you another twist question a little bit, because the way Nigerian has projected Nigerian indigent, there's some things people don't expect we have the knowledge of. And having a wonderful lady like you, talking from the intellect of understanding not just the music but everything that comes with the music, because you just said it, this is a very good opportunity when you said an idea of saying, there's nothing wrong. Maybe the federal government or some people can give grant, helping some people and believing in them, making some opportunities for them to grow. And I say that to say, you didn't study music. You didn't have no knowledge about music. You did entire different program. The question I'm saying now is, do you think education helps in the music world? Do you think it doesn't really being something you have to have? Because there's a lot of being into music that a lot of musicians in Nigeria doesn't know. Unfortunately, for somebody like you, staying on your lane, indigenous music, trying to push it to the level where people can appreciate it. What is that thing you would like to tell people that are going to music? Does education have to have value or not?
Go to school. There's so much value. The exposure that interacting with people in the tertiary institution brings to you guys in the university. It's not something that, wave and say, no, let's just jump into the music. Education gives you the opportunity to see different people, and it makes you very outspoken. I used to be a radio girl, I went from when I graduated, I started doing radio before I ventured into music. So there's no room that I cannot walk into and speak my mind. I'm not shy. I'm very confident, and I feel like this is what going through the four walls of a university would build you into. I'm very street oriented. I'm very educated. I can speak for myself. I can stand up for myself. And when people say artists, they're very naive, they fall into contracts, they don't know. When you go to school, you can read, you can also write. So when you see things, you can express yourself in public, you go to interviews, you can talk. Most people cannot. They cannot put one or two words together. So I feel like the role of education should not be underestimated when it comes to music and to artists in general. Please, if you have the opportunity, go to school. Once you start music and it starts looking good, please go back to school as well. I mean, it's very important because education is like the bedrock of society. And I feel like everybody should have at least basic reading and writing knowledge, at least. And if you have the money, please keep going further on.
Thank you for that. That's very powerful. Now I've asked you the question that I feel like our audience would like to, because of the path you've chosen music. Now I'm coming back to you yourself. There's a lot of music out there. Are we expecting an international collaboration that you're planning? Is this something you like to cheap out? Are you having some names, projecting like, okay, I'm planning working with these names, and now you're already out all around Nigeria, and people that don't know you, I'm sure they will know you, but they might not know you by face. Let me put it that way. They might have heard your voice. So what is the plan? What is the new plan you're having for? We're already in the middle of the year, if I'm correct. So are you giving any new song coming out? What is the plan?
Yeah, the plan. I'm putting out new singles. I'll be putting out new singles very soon. And I intend to collaborate with a lot of I want to start with like African acts. There's so many of them that I'm in love with and I would want to do music with. So yeah, fingers crossed,
When you say the African act, I'm trying to poke a little bit more. Is it going to be outside Nigeria or just Nigerians?
Outside Nigeria now.
Oh, that's great. And when you said the singles is coming out, you want to give us a snip of maybe you already created a title or something like that, just to give us a snip of what to expect. Or you know,
there's so many to pick out of. So we just have that period. I'm at the period where there's just a lot of them, so we haven't been able to pick out what it's going to be, and they're all so amazing. So it's like, okay, where do we start from? But I cannot give any sneak peek because there's so many songs to pick out.
That was a perfect answer for us. We'll take it like that. If you don't mind me asking, except from music, what do you do for fun?
For fun?
Yeah, like when you want to say, okay, I'm not working.
I watch movies.
What kind of movies? What kind of movies do you watch?
Mystery, crime, thrillers, police investigations. I
Wow.
liked stuff. And
How do
then
you how do you keep in the indigenous part in the music and in the movies you switch the other side of it? Does that inspire you back in, because the movies your choice of movies are kind of movie.
sometimes I make music where I want to tell a story where people don't know how it's going to end. So some of these movies inspire or inform what I want to do. Like I could be telling a story about a lady who traveled. So people want to know what happened after she traveled. So I always try to, fuse in stories and make it sound. So I think the movies also help. Plus they calm my nerves. There's so much pressure out there. So when I discovered that movies have a way of helping me stay calm, like once I start watching movies, it's like all my worries just float away.
Another thing I want to ask about yourself is, since you've been in the spotlight, with the 2D Nuts, Kiss Daniel, Davido, everybody jump on it. You have songs with Fino. There's a lot of people out there. You have wonderful songs. What has been, you used the word just now. Is there any been kind of pressure, challenge in that spotlight that you have? The kind of expectation you want for yourself. How have you been able to manage the result sometimes when it comes back? And how do you manage to keep yourself in the loop of what you expect to come?
How I've been able to, stay sane, and ward off a lot of the pressure would have to be constantly reminding myself that I'm not where I used to be 4 or 5 years ago. There's been a whole lot of improvement. I feel like a lot of people get swallowed in the whole, matrix of entertainment because you have your eyes on someone else's success. And that's not how life works. We're all born different. We have different fingerprints. We're not the same. Everybody has different capacities. But the entertainment industry is not going to ask you that because you cannot stop the pressure that comes. And because we live it is a visual, endearing lifestyle. So you're seeing a lot of things. You want to be so many things at the same time. And it can be very conflicting and confusing. So you have to have some kind of reminder. You have to have something that keeps snapping you back into the reality of what you are and what your life is. And I feel like that thing can only work if you constantly tell yourself, you have to constantly speak to yourself like, hey, snap out, or what you're doing and what these people are doing is not the same thing. So if you have 10 people that like your post in a day, be grateful for those 10 people. If you have 10,000 people streaming your music, be happy for the 10,000 people. It's not easy for those people to identify with you. In fact, it's a thing of joy. You have your own community. You're slowly and steadily building your own community. I believe in slow and steady. I believe that, where my papa would always say in Igbo, he would say, Ebo nyo sorrow, onye jegeru. It means that where the person who has a car or is running is going to get to, the person who's crawling is also going to get there. The only difference is time. So all the pressure is not going to go away, but you can be able to calm yourself down and constantly remind yourself that you've made it this far and you're not where you used to be, but it would always get better.
Ugo, you, whoever that is watching this episode will get a lot from you. Everything you said, I got into it so much that you're about to change the music scene for females in terms of the intellect, because I got to give you that. We don't get this kind of conversation a lot from female artists we have in Nigeria, especially being an indigenous, and you're fully packed. When I say everything is packed, and that makes me for the question I want to ask on this one, which I promise after this one is going to be the last one. How have you been able to manage your music from your private life?
Well, I think for me, I feel like I only post what I need people to see. And I think that would be my music, And then I noticed that people, by personal, I think maybe relationship or maybe my family, people love my dad. So they like to see my dad. So once in a while, I just post my dad, Maybe we're doing a video of my song.
Yeah, I think I saw when you're dancing with your dad. I think I saw one video like that on YouTube.
I love my dad. So people will love to see him. So maybe once in a while, I just post my dad for people to see. And, but I feel like the internet does not have to know everything. They don't need to know everything that is going on, because what are they going to do for you? At the end of the day, most of the times when you bring personal issues online, it's just for gist. Blogs are going to carry it, and then it's gist. But sometimes also people do that because they want like traffic. on their page or their music or whatever they're doing, because the in thing these days is publicity stunts. Nobody knows what's real anymore and what's fake. So I just feel like everybody is free to do them. I'm not a judge of character. People get a lot of closure. Some people get closure when they post their personal life online. Musicians, they post their personal, or anybody, or entertainers in general. Some also do not feel the need to put out their personal business online. So different strokes for different folks. Personally, for me, I don't think that everybody needs to know everything going on in your life. You just let them into what you want to let them into, and keep it at that. But one of the perks, is it perks? Is perks the right word? I think perks is it.
Yes.
Let me use the English wise, Abby. One of the it for me of being in the spotlight most times is how everybody feels like they should have some kind of access to you. Everybody feels like they should get like a piece, out of you. It's like they're nudging at you on this place, trying to get a piece of you. And it's like, I cannot share myself into 1 billion pieces now. I'm going to respond to as much people as I can. I cannot talk to everybody at the same time. But I try, and like I said, movies help me shut out the noise most of the times, and I'm grateful for that.
Thank you very much for that. My last question is I think I intentionally put it in last because I hope the response will. I'm not this man. You're going too much. The last question is, how has it been? It's like a 2 question in one. How has it been being a female in the music industry in Nigeria? That's one. And the second part is, are you single or you're not single? And if you're single, is the door. Nobody should even try to go to your DM and start saying, hey, I've been trying to reach you. I had the interview and I feel like I should express myself. So these are the 2 last questions I want to ask you.
I'll start with the first.
Okay.
Being a female artist in Nigeria, some days you're like, I don't want to do the music again. And on some days you're like, nah, let me just continue. Because most people, most of the time, especially the male folk, they don't see you for the music that you're bringing. I've been invited to gigs where I know I'm going to get paid, but it's like the person who was brought you to the gig, after the gig, they're like, okay, can she come and see me personally? Do you get? And they want to always, see you personally. How many people am I going to see personally? I will finish before you people are don't see me personally. They don't see the music. The music is like, okay, she's just playing around. What I want is, I just want to have something with her. I want to have her by my side, or probably have her in my bed or something. So it's like, okay, does my talent even matter? So you see yourself proving yourself 10 times more. Like, I can sing, I'm a singer. You have to literally on you. Exactly, because they're not just seeing you as a singer, they're also seeing you as someone they want to sleep with,
Wow.
I think it's just recently, I'm very happy for the girlies because the girls are doing so great.
True.
Songs are getting to, our songs are getting to number 1 spots, we're claiming spots, we're clinching spots. Girls are doing songs that are going viral. And that's so beautiful to see, because it's not all the time. Back then, women didn't really have a place, in the entertainment industry. So I'm very happy, and I always say big kudos to all the girlies, them Ira, them Thames, them Yemi, them Tiwa, the people, they're making music, putting music out there, clinching number 1 spots and all of that, getting awards, bringing everything back home. So they're doing it for the girls. At least people are no longer seeing us as just, okay, just do your small Nigerian and just go to the back, so that then you come and see me later. You feel me? So yes, that's it. That's majorly one of the problems, sexualization to coffee shop.
Thank you very much for that.
I am single, and there's so many people in my DMs. There's no limit. There are people in my DMs, I cannot stop them.
So now that you said you're single, I wanted to say you should say something about the females, but I'm glad you incorporate that in your answers, which is very lovely. Being single, is there something you want to give a little bit of tip? Like, okay, if you want to come around me, these are the things. I'm not going to use the most viral comments they're using right now from the female side. I'm not going to use the 20 million, 50 million, but in your own world, what is that? That's a little bit of tip that if you're out there, if you want to come around, come correct in this way, so it might help.
For me, life is very hard. So at least be someone that is funny, that can make me laugh. Because the country is hard. So anybody who's going to be around me as a partner has to be someone who can make me laugh, someone who has a huge and large sense of humor, so that we can be laughing away our problems.
Hmm.
Yes. Please have a sense of humor, at least, most important.
So to you out there, guys, don't go and over DM her, please. So we are not saying anyway. She only answers the people she can answer because she's always busy. It's been wonderful having you, Ugo. I would really appreciate the time, sharing this wonderful thought about getting to know you from a different angle that a lot of people haven't listened. And I'm glad the energy you brought in, the views you've given to us. The one big one I pick out of this thing is about giving opportunity for artists, grant or working with them in a way it helps them to continue to to bring out our culture, our talent, our wonderful people in Nigeria. I don't know, maybe there's anything you'd like to say to our audience. Maybe you want to give us a short line of singing or anything you like to, it might be in your language. Me, I would love the language because that's who you are. That's the indigenous part of you. So would you like to honor our audience to give us just a line in any verse you feel like you want to share with us?
CTDAmongblacks Ekene Afambu Gochi Omalicha Wanda. And actually miss you jide kunuji. Oga diru no nama. It would always be well with you guys. Dialo no maka obako. Unu kesi alai. That's saying thank you for the platform, giving us a beautiful platform. Soon it would be nice also to be in your studio or something. I don't know.
Most definitely. Thank you very, very much. It's been wonderful having you. Stay blessed. Keep making us proud. Keep giving us the indigenous music and sound and style and the culture. And we love you from all the way from Houston, Texas. Thank you very much for having us. Thank you so much and have a lovely evening.
Thank you. Bye.